Hey everyone, today's video is all about painting a cool landscape from scratch. The subject, castle, of course. As usual, my name is Victor, I'm a concept artist, I work for film and games. I'm really excited to show you guys the final result. So, let's get started. First things first, we want to establish our composition, so roughly where I want each element to be, but since our subject is a castle, so there are a few architectural structures here and there. Might be easier to create a very simple perspective grip, so just drop some guiding lines and then adjust them according to your vanishing points. This way you can confidently follow those lines and create precise architecture. Not that it's really necessary, it's not that important, but it will give you a bit more of a solid look if you follow it. So I'm thinking about the overall design, what kind of castle we're looking at. Maybe there is a main structure with some towers and there is a wall around it with smaller towers. And I'm also thinking that one key element might be like this huge bridge that is starting in the foreground and extending towards the gate. It's going to be used in terms of composition, it's going to be used like an element that draws the viewer's attention towards your focal point. I'm also going to give it a slight arc to the bridge to make it feel more organic, like maybe the bridge's been there for a while. Jumping into the painting, I like to start everything with the backgrounds. This is definitely the easiest way. You want to set the tone for the whole piece, so the lighting scenario at least. I begin painting the sky and then move towards the camera. So we're going to fill all those elements with just flat color. You can look for it in your reference images, for example, when you start the image. That's one way to go for it. If you're not sure what kind of colors or values you're going for, just check your reference images, and that's a sure bet to get a good result. So let's think about the lighting. My plan was to keep the lower part of the castle in an overcast, like diffused light scenario, while the upper towers catch direct sunlight from the left. This means that the shadows on the bottom will be softer, reflecting that the sky is the one light source. And on the other hand, the upper towers will have sharper, clear shadows to show the sunlight. I'm gonna place the shadows on the right side of the buildings and underneath any protruding structures or anything like that. So this step helps establish a clear light direction and gives the scene some depth. The same thing goes for the mountain behind the castle. It follows the same lighting scenario, only this time we're going to create some very soft shadows in order to describe the form, because it doesn't have sharp edges or anything like that. There's of course a water plane in the image, so I'm quickly adding some brush strokes to suggest reflections. Precision isn't necessary here, just enough to give a sense of texture and movement in the water. And of course it's very satisfying to add that reflection plane on the water. Gives the scene a bit more richness. That's why pictures with castles and structures on a shore or in front of a water plane. I'm also starting to figure out what kind of values we're going for the castle. The lower part, being in shadow, will naturally be darker than the sunlit towers, so to add contrast and variation I introduced some color to the rooftops as well. Thinking about the purple hue might work well with the background color. Right, after that I'm focusing on to areas that feel a little bit empty, like the middle ground with the grass. You can use a very rough, broad brush stroke to indicate vegetation and add some shading to suggest a bit more depth. At this stage I'm more concerned with the overall shapes and positions rather than finer details. Once the big picture becomes clear, we can refine some smaller elements, of course. For example, I started adding windows and refining the planes that face away from the light. You should use reference, definitely, in order to achieve much more realistic and authentic feel in these cases. Notice that I'm not stuck in one plane. I'm always jumping here and there and trying to keep the image consistent this way. So I'm spending a bit of time on the focal area and then move around to other areas. This way I'm making sure that no separate area is too defined and others are extremely loose or something like that. So returning to the water plane, I'm adding some texture to imply ripples as if the wind is disturbing the surface. This also looks really cool and it kind of breaks the shape a little bit, adding some variation, adding some interest to the whole thing. For the foreground, I was thinking maybe to create some small islands of vegetation. They'll kind of serve the purpose of framing the image a bit better. And on the bridge, I'm thinking to add a few highlights to show some light hitting from the opposite side of the bridge, right on the bottom. This way it will make it look a bit more 3D. Every time I'm adding details on the bridge, I'm kind of reviewing the reflections on the water as well. So now let's focus on refining the bridge construction. By adding a few shadowed areas, try to create the sense that parts of the bridge are sticking out or angled away from the light. And by using a texture brush, you can introduce some material variation as well, sprinkling in lighter and darker tones to create a believable surface. Even though the bridge isn't the focal point, it's still close to the camera, so I'm spending a little bit of time to refine the edges and enhancing the details. As I'm working, I occasionally turn the image to black and white, and I'm also, if you're noticing, zooming in, zooming out from the image to see the full picture, kind of like the big picture in terms of composition, in terms of readability of the values, and so on. And this is really important, and it's a very good habit to pick up because it will help you keep a better eye on everything that's happening in your image. For instance, I noticed that the shadows on the towers are a bit too dark, so I adjusting them to better balance of the scene. In the middle ground, we have this undefined plane. So a very easy and quick solution is to just use a brush that has a tree pattern, and I'm just spraying it all around that plane far enough so it doesn't need a lot of attention. It works quite well with a brush like that. So you can literally take any picture, any image of a tree, turn it into a brush and apply it. Working on the area behind the mountains, focusing on the clouds in the sky. For this type of things, you want to use large brush strokes and keep the contrast low. Use softer brushes as well. We want to create this subtle volume in the clouds, but you don't want to draw too much attention because it's not our focal point, and it doesn't need to fight over attention. As you zoom in, zoom out, you can identify areas that need more details. The focal point, the castle, for example, definitely deserves additional information. So I'm switching to a smaller brush and I'm adding imperfections to the rocks, some color variation, finer textures. This all helps to describe the image a bit better. I'm also enhancing the areas that are in the shadow, pushing and pulling the values to create a consistent look across the whole image. One last idea I wanted to explore, but I wasn't sure, is to add some separation between the bridge and the castle. So a touch of atmospheric fog might do the trick, and it's going to help us distinguish these two elements. I'm also considering the values on the towers, tweaking them to suggest some distance and depth. For the finishing touches, a few vegetation brush strokes here and there throughout the scene, focusing on the areas that feel a bit more empty. In the brightly lit sections, I push the saturation to emphasize the warmth of the light source. The rooftops in particular benefit from this treatment as their warm tones contrast nicely with the cooler shadows. Finally, I'm polishing the water by adding a few imperfections here and there and subtle variations to break up the surface. Finally, I'm polishing the water by adding a few imperfections and subtle variations to break up the surface. So these final adjustments, like enhancing reflections, tweaking some values, refining the textures, help tie everything together. Alright, let's have a look at the final image. Notice I pushed the colors a bit more, and I also added a little bit of a sharpening filter to make the image a bit more crisp. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed this process and find it helpful. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing, it helps a ton. Thanks so much again, and I hope to see you in the next one, coming soon.